The following program is brought to you by Arlington Community Media, where we tell your story.
This is ACMi News, recognized nationwide as the first place winner of the 2023 Hometown Media Award for News Access.
We've seen more than our share of rain lately, and it's not doing anything to resolve the pollution problem at the Alewife Brook. This waterway, acting like a sewer, was supposed to be a temporary fix. If you consider nearly 150 years temporary. Seniors will soon get some relief in the form of free parking in Arlington. What do you have to do, and how old should you be to qualify? We'll talk to the executive director of the Council on Aging. And Arlington artist Neil Dale pays tribute to Arlington's renowned artist Cyrus Dallin. It's a tribute that has a message for all of us. If we are to appreciate and preserve nature, something the ancients held so dear for thousands of years. ACMi News is next.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered, giving you stories that count from people who care. Reliable, trustworthy, dependable. This is the nationwide award-winning ACMi News.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of ACMi News. I'm Jeff Barn. Thank you as always for joining us. We are taking advantage of the great outdoors by the beautiful water tower here in Arlington Heights today because, well, in just a few short months, let's face it, it's going to be too cold, so we're enjoying the warm weather while we can. Now on to the news of the week. It's no secret we've been getting our share of rain this year, and the recent rains we've had in August alone have clearly not been kind to the Alewife Brook. Once again, it's being used as a sewer with no solution in sight for the immediate future. The Alewife Brook is often impaired due to bacterial and other pollutants from several sources, including combined sewer overflows, or CSOs as they're called, connections between sanitary sewers mainly from Cambridge and Somerville. Storm drains and stormwater runoff also add to this concern. Now, the grassroots environmental group, Save the Alewife Brook, took some serious notes on August the 8th after a substantial rainstorm and recorded the aftermath. Then they contacted the State Water Resources Authority calling for action. Earlier this week, I went to the brook. The banks of the Alewife Brook are spongy, and you don't want to get too close to the water. It stinks. Time and time again for decades now, people have been told by the Massachusetts Water Resource Authority to avoid contact with the Alewife Brook and parts of the Mystic River after the release of stormwater mixed with sewage on the Cambridge-Arlington line. Now, Cambridge city leaders say the overflows are necessary to prevent contaminated water from backing up into homes, businesses, and nearby streets. But members of the grassroots organization Save the Alewife Brook say every time there are substantial rainfalls, the brook acts like a sewer full of harmful bacteria and other pollutants. The MWRA says it needs time to come up with a solution, but residents say enough is enough. Earlier this month, for instance, members of Save the Alewife Brook sent an email to the executive director of the MWRA, Frederick A. Lasky. In it, the group said this: on August the 8th, Massachusetts Water Resources Authority, Somerville, and Cambridge discharged an estimated 8.77 million gallons of untreated sewage-contaminated water into Alewife Brook. The Alewife Brook flooded over its bank and into Department of Conservation and Recreation parkland, sending contaminated floodwater up to a foot deep over the Alewife Greenway path. This is video sent to ACMi News taken August the 8th from Save the Alewife Brook. You can see a jogger dodging the massive puddle and someone actually pushing a baby stroller through this mess, and another person walking toward what is an overflow of sewage. Save the Alewife Brook members say the MWRA is required to warn people within 2 hours of any discharge into the brook, and that the MWRA failed to do that within the time frame. And when it finally did, it described the massive discharge as partially treated sewage. The email to Lasky continues: describing the discharge as partially treated misleads the public, who might believe that the discharge has received sanitary treatment to meet water quality standards and that effluent monitoring is done to confirm this. This misleading statement circumvents the required notification and public health protocols. Earlier this year, ACMi News interviewed members of Save the Alewife Brook after another heavy rainfall earlier in the spring.
Pardon me if I give you the stank face because I'm standing next to CAM 401B, which is one of the 6 CSOs that combined sewer overflow discharges come out of in this teeny 1.6 mile brook that's very narrow. Here it's in a concrete channel, and it stinks.
There's been zero progress whatsoever. We are heartened by the fact that the Cambridge Health Department is letting people know about the sewage discharges. We got 2 inches of rain over 18 hours on Saturday, and 5 out of 6 of the Alewife CSOs discharged raw, untreated sewage into this tiny brook. The Alewife Brook gets no treated sewage discharge. And the problem with this is that it gets into people's homes during flood events. There are 5,000 people who live in the Alewife's floodplain, and we really need to see it stop.
And it smells terribly here. I wish you people watching this had your noses here and could smell how terrible it really is. This is not the smell of a natural brook. This is the smell of a brook that's been completely invaded by sewage over and over again. So we're calling on MWRA, Cambridge, and Somerville to do much more than they're doing now, and to do much more than they're proposing to do.
I'm here partly because I want to speak for the brook as a water protector, as an aspiring, indigenous ally. I want to speak for the brook because the brook can't speak for itself. I want to speak for the birds and the frogs that aren't here and the turtles that aren't here.
Save the Alewife Brook members call the MWRA's action, or inaction, depending on how you look at it, a long-standing pattern of indifference and repeated violations. And it should be addressed with enforcement and with new requirements for enhanced real-time public notification efforts. ACMi News called the MWRA's media contact, Rhea Condry, for comment. Her outgoing voicemail said she was on vacation and to call another contact, Sean Navin. We repeatedly did that. His voicemail has been full, repeatedly, much like the Alewife Brook. Of course, we'll keep you updated on any new developments on this story. Meantime, if you want more information on just how bad things are at the Alewife Brook, and they are indeed bad, just go to the Save the Alewife Brook website, savethealewifebrook.org. Again, that's savethealewifebrook.org. Arlington's Department of Health and Human Services was set to host a candlelight vigil to recognize International Overdose Awareness Day. The vigil took place August the 31st on the lawn in front of Calvary Church at 300 Mass Ave. According to Arlington's newly hired Prevention Services Manager, Anna Martin, the vigil honors those who we have lost in the past and to make the community aware that no one is alone in this fight. Arlington is also the site of a town forum set for September 28th, dedicated to the impact of opioids and other drugs. That event is scheduled for 6 to 7:30 p.m., September the 28th at Town Hall. Find out more about the September forum by emailing Anna Martin, amartin@town.arlington.ma.us. Again, that's amartin@town.arlington.ma.us. Arlington leaders have announced details about a new pilot program that allows seniors to park for free while attending events at the Arlington Senior Center at 27 Maple. The 2-year pilot program is set to begin Wednesday, September the 7th, and will provide parking relief for residents ages 65 and older in the area around the Senior Center. To take part in this program, you're going to need a parking sticker for your vehicle. I talked to Executive Director Christine Shah all about it. On June the 26th, Arlington Select Board approved the 2-year parking pilot program for seniors. Now, the program was proposed by Christine Shah, the Executive Director of the Arlington Council on Aging, and supported by more than 100 seniors who attended the June Select Board meeting. Shah says she hopes that this particular program eases the burden of cost and will allow seniors to stay in the building for longer periods of time to attend programs and services without, of course, the concern of getting a parking ticket.
Absolutely. We're really excited about that. We have people that are coming here and staying all day, which is what we want. We want people to be able to come in the morning, have coffee, stay for programs, meet friends, and not worry about a time limit on a spot that their car is in. So this does help with that a lot.
It's got to be a good feeling for you, too. You figure out this idea, you present it to the town, and boom, all of a sudden you have this overwhelming response.
Yeah, it's really great, and we're happy to have something just to offer to the seniors in Arlington. It's something that they're really excited about and truly, they deserve. And they'll have one less thing to worry about as far as feeding meters go or time limits on the streets around the community center. So I'm thrilled.
For those interested in the program, seniors will need to get a parking sticker. This sticker will allow for things like parking in Russell Common and railroad lots for free anytime the meters are in effect. Parking in any metered space along Mass Ave, Broadway Ave, Alton Street, Medford Street, Court Street, or at the Robbins Library, totally free for up to 4 hours. The sticker gives you free rein to park along Maple Street or Academy Street while in the community center for Council on Aging programming or any appointments you may have. Also, how about this? The 4-hour maximum time limit on Academy Street will not be enforced. Now, there are several ways to get this particular sticker. Ms. Shah says seniors can apply online if they have a Google Gmail account. If seniors apply online, the parking sticker will be mailed after Thursday, September the 7th. Otherwise, seniors can apply in person during scheduled sign-up periods, which are from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. every Thursday beginning on September the 7th. Seniors will need a copy of their vehicle registration showing an Arlington address and a photo identification showing an Arlington address. A lot of information to digest. To get more information on the pilot program, just go to the town website, arlingtonma.gov. Again, that's arlingtonma.gov. And happy parking for those of you 65 or older. Happy parking indeed. Now, on to other news. State lawmakers in Boston are gearing up to consider several measures that will have a direct impact on Arlington residents. Besides poring over some recently passed warrant articles like the fossil fuel bill, lawmakers will also be looking at the use of toxic poisons to curb our rat population. That's been a hot-button issue this year, obviously, after a bald eagle, you may recall, died from ingesting rat poison. Also, the ongoing struggle with an extremely complex healthcare system will be discussed on the state level. That, according to State Senator Cindy Friedman, who recently stopped by ACMi Studios to touch on those very topics and talked about a lot more, too.
We will see a healthcare bill, and we are very much focused, my group, my guys, are really focused on pharmaceutical costs, pharmacy benefit managers, private equity, and how that's, cost, just the cost of everything, and how we need to better analyze and understand where all these astronomical costs are coming from that pass down to the patients. And so those are some of the things that we are really going to be focused on. Primary care is another one, and reducing the administrivia that doctors and providers have to go through in order, just, that it's nothing to do with the delivery of service. It just has to do with
archaic,
and insurance and payments and stuff that happens at the systems level, where they are the recipients of just this incredible burden, and it's really pushing people out of the workforce.
And you can see Senator Friedman's interview in its entirety by going to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ACMiTV. Again, that's our most recent talk of the town at youtube.com/ACMiTV. ACMi is currently joining the Cyrus Dallin Art Museum to piece together a major project which focuses on one of Arlington's favorite sons, the world-renowned sculptor, Cyrus E. Dallin. Now, ACMi is currently producing an oral histories program, area residents reading first-hand accounts of people who came in contact with this master artist and have a fascinating story to tell us all. Now, this week, a modern-day Arlington artist pays tribute to Dallin and his love of the ancients. Dallin was in touch with their respect for nature. It was a valuable message in the time of Cyrus Dallin, and in our own time, it's a dire warning.
It could be that an artist affects their times through some exciting synergy between their work, their lifestyle, and the fashion of the times. We hear about the Impressionists and maybe even long for their riotous evenings in Paris. But that time is long past, and it probably has very little effect on our culture anymore. Now, however, we can perhaps get the real effect of the artist as people pause, one by one, and are moved by their paintings. This is a direct emotional communication and transmits the actual intention of the artist and the real effect of their art on our time. In Boston, there's a sculpture that has been having a profound effect on the visitors to the Museum of Fine Arts for over 100 years, known as the Appeal to the Great Spirit. It is a full-scale bronze of a Native American on a horse, his arms wide. He leans back, opening his heart to the heavens above. It is green with age and exposure because it is entirely appropriately outdoors, under the elements and the sky. This is a sculpture that has greeted visitors to the museum since 1910, and from all accounts, it is the best-loved sculpture in Boston. It is said to be, after the Daniel French sculpture of Lincoln seated in his memorial in Washington, D.C., the most photographed sculpture in the United States. How strange that almost nobody knows which artist created it. Beside any of the paintings inside the museum, one glances without fail at the tag that announces the artist. In front of the appeal, however, people stop and gaze and then move on, receiving its gift of inspiration with almost the same unconscious acceptance as they take in the sky above it. And it has been having an effect. Bit by bit, person by person, Cyrus Dallin has been selflessly reminding us of the world above us and the Native Americans who valued it. There is no accident that scarcely anybody knows who did this. The surrender of the rider is not one of the overt values of the American spirit. Still, in the privacy of our hearts, we may love it and know that there is truth in this profound gesture of appeal. Americans of Dallin's era preferred the active, swashbuckling style of Frederick Remington and other Western artists. To this day, Remington's work and name applaud the romantic images of the combative, dominating, totally independent cowboy. But as Jonathan Fairbanks, curator emeritus of decorative arts at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, said in a lecture, Cyrus Dallin was born in the West. He knew too much to think that such brash images were the reality. Not only did Dallin avoid that stereotype, he saw in the Native Americans values that he felt were much deeper and more sincere. These are not the motives of the men who tamed the West, nor the culture that has conquered nature. Rather, his sculptures speak of reverence, humility, inspiration, and a deep emotional awareness of another's pain. In a park in Philadelphia, there's a bronze Native American on a bronze horse. He is ceremonially naked, with his arm raised in a curious, gentle gesture. His hand does not welcome, neither does it try to stop. Only when one contemplates the old man's face can one feel the depth of his pain, his witness to the destruction of his own culture. Then one can hear the words in his gesture, peace, enough. Peace, enough. Very few people wanted to hear this message when it was created in 1903. But perhaps now we are more capable of acknowledging the facts that this man has witnessed. In being open to his pain, we can also open the door to feeling the values of his culture. There is a small park in Arlington, Massachusetts, behind the town hall. Grass and bushes flank a broad spillway that falls like a small stream from a rise in the copse of trees behind. It is a beautiful refuge on a summer's day, and the few who know it come there to sit on a stone bench and eat their lunch in sheltered peace. Tucked away in the copse of trees at the top of the rise, there is a bronze hunter, crouching down to scoop a drink from the running stream that is the source of the fountain. Though larger than life size, you could miss this sculpture entirely because it expresses humility and a simple participation in its natural setting. Alongside this Native American, Dallin has sculpted a dead goose, the hunter's rightful share of the bounty that he inhabits. In 1912, when Dallin sculpted this work, American culture was at the height of its headlong consumption of the resources of a new continent. Only now, as we near the end of this enormous banquet and begin to consider curbing our appetite, can we discover an artist like Dallin and begin to absorb the values he expressed. Although appreciated for the sheer skill of his sculpture during his life, Dallin's intentions could not be fully appreciated in his own time, and his name has been forgotten. His sculptures stand today in front of a museum in Boston, on a hill overlooking Kansas City, in a park in Philadelphia, and they testify to the values of the culture that we displaced. They show the qualities that we now need to resurrect and encourage. This reverence, humility, this awareness of the pain of others. These are not the values of those who conquered nature, but of those who may one day, hopefully soon, learn to live with her.
Arlington is so fortunate to have this museum right here in town at 611 Mass Ave. Few museums in the world are located in the town where the artist actually lived and worked. We are among the select few. If you're a lover of surrealism on canvas, you do not want to miss the works of Julian Landa, currently at the Cutter Gallery in Arlington. It'll be there most of September. We paid a visit, you may recall, to Julian in August and decided to go back again to see how his extraordinary exhibit, Toxic Environment, is doing. Julian is featuring scores of paintings that unite the conscious with the unconscious to merge dreamlike fantasy with everyday reality to create something really unique. He's been actively painting in surrealism for over 50 years. Born and bred in Boston, studied at Vesper George School of Art, then graduated from the School of the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. And his paintings hang in numerous private collections.
I started out in the commercial art world, and then I moved into the fine art, and I was doing portraits and landscape and still life. But then I came across some books in surrealism, and I said, this is the direction I want to go in. And I admired Dali and Magritte and M.C. Escher and Master, and I just followed what they wanted to do. But those guys were really in the 30s and 40s. I'm trying to bring in the influences of my lifetime to these pieces. And that's the wonderful thing about this show, because it really deals with the pandemic and all the work is from that short 3-year period. Well, I hope I haven't reached my peak because I want to keep on going. But like I was saying before, I'm influenced by the events of my time. And what I'm trying to do is like update Surrealism. And so people can appreciate my work, but understand that all the symbols and the themes that are running through my painting reflect what's going on all around us. And as long as I'm around and I'm able to paint, I want to just keep on going with it. I never believed that I would be doing this for 54 years now. But here I am painting away. This morning I started a new painting. We do have a website, www.julianlanda.com. And it's also on the Cutter Gallery website. There's a link to my website there too.
All right, so you fully intend to keep on painting until you just can't paint anymore, right? You just love it so much.
I love painting. It's always been my thing.
You don't have much time to see Julian's exhibit at the Cutter Gallery. That's at the Jefferson Cutter House at 611 Massachusetts Avenue. And to see more of Julian's work, just go to the Cutter Gallery website at cuttergalleryarlington.com. Again, that's cuttergalleryarlington.com. The exhibit Toxic Environment continues through September the 23rd. You have to see it. His works are extraordinary. That'll do it for this week's edition of ACMi News. I'm Jeff Barn. Thank you, as always, for seeing us. Do you want to see how we put together the newscast right here in Arlington, just down the street? Stop by and pay us a visit at 85 Park Avenue on Thursday afternoons between 3 and 5. And if you have any news tips for us, stay tuned. In just a few seconds, you're going to find out how. And we will see you back here next week, as always. Stay safe. We'll see you next week.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMI Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.